What's up guys, today I'm doing a video comparing the iPhone 5, 5S, and 6. Now today's video is going to be looking at the major design and hardware software differences between the three phones, since a detailed comparison would take too long. Starting off with the iPhone 5, it first introduced a bigger screen at 4 inches over previous models' 3.5-inch screens. The outside has a chamfered edge all around, and the body is constructed of aluminum with glass cutouts for the antennas. The audio port moved to the bottom, and on the back is the camera and flash with metal rings around them and a pill-shaped mic hole. The iPhone 5S is similar to the 5 with the same dimensions and look. However, the home button has been replaced with the Touch ID sensor, and on the back, the rings around the camera and flash have been removed. The flash has also been updated to a dual LED flash, and the mic hole is now circular. The iPhone 6 was an integer update, and with it came a redesign. Apple further increased the screen sizes for both the 6 and 6 Plus, and rounded out the screen and sides and moved the FaceTime camera to the left of the speaker. The speaker grill is now a single row of circles, and the mic grill is now replaced with a hole just next to the audio jack. The power lock button is now on the right side, and the volume rocker are pill shapes now. The flash retains the dual LEDs, but has now reverted to a circle, and the camera lens now protrudes out of the back of the case. Next up, I'm running the benchmarking app 3D Mark just to get an idea of the raw performance of each of these phones. The iPhone 5 is running iOS 6.1.4, the 5S is running the launch day iOS 7.0, and the iPhone 6 is also running the launch day iOS 8.0. Of course, this takes a bit of time, so I sped up the video and I'll be going over some of the specs of each phone. First up is the iPhone 5 with a 1.3 GHz dual-core A6 processor using a 32-bit ARMv7 instruction set architecture. It has a PowerVR Series 5XT SGX MP GPU, 1 GB of LPDDR2 RAM, and an 1136x640 screen resolution at 326 ppi. The iPhone 5S has a 1.3 GHz dual-core A7 processor with an M7 Motion coprocessor using a 64-bit variant of the ARMv8 ISA, the first commercially available 64-bit ARM CPU. It has a PowerVR Series 6 GPU, 1 GB of LPDDR3 RAM, and the same screen specs as the 5. The iPhone 6 has a 1.4 GHz dual-core A8 processor with an M8 Motion coprocessor using the same 64-bit ARMv8 ISA. It has a PowerVR Series 6 XT GPU, 1 GB of LPDDR3 RAM, and a larger 1334x750 screen resolution. However, the pixel density is still 326 ppi. The iPhone 6 finished first with a benchmark score of 17,047, the iPhone 5S finished second with a score of 13,679, and the iPhone 5 finished last with a measly score of 5,497. Now looking at 3D Mark's average scores, the iPhone 5 gets around a 5,680, the 5S 14,718, and the 6 a score of 17,302. Now Apple claimed that the A7 processor in the 5S is more than twice as powerful as the A6 in both CPU and GPU performance, which we can see here seems pretty accurate. The A8 was also said to be 25% more powerful in processing and 50% more powerful in graphics performance than the A7, which from these benchmarks also seem to be true. But of course, benchmarks aren't everything. So here I go through a series of different apps to test the speed of each phone. Now this isn't an exact science, so some apps are pressed just slightly sooner than others, but this should give an overall idea on the performance of the phones. As you can see here, Angry Birds takes about the same amount of time on both the 5S and 6, while the 5 lags behind. Interestingly, the calendar app opens up quicker on the iPhone 5, while the 5S and 6 come in second. The video app also opens up more quickly on the 5 on iOS 6, which leads me to believe that the animations in iOS 7 and iOS 8 are slowing down the opening of the apps. So in terms of stock apps, the iPhone 5 running on iOS 6 seems to be taking the lead. Here, I'm opening up various games which are more graphic intensive. First is Infinity Blade 1, which seems to take about the same amount of time on the 5S and 6, but lags in launching the app on the iPhone 5. But once it launches, it seems to run just as smoothly as the other two. When opening the Where's My Water app, we can see that the iPhone 6 takes just a slight lead over the iPhone 5S, but both are much faster than the iPhone 5. Opening the CSR Racing app is where the iPhone 6 takes the lead. It loaded much faster than the 5S, and both were significantly faster than the iPhone 5, which is interesting since the app hasn't been updated since I had it on my iPhone 5. So ideally, it should be optimized for the iPhone 5, but it seems that raw CPU power matters more here. Apple has also been updating the cameras with each phone update, so I went through a series of tests on each of the camera's hardware and software capabilities. The first test was opening the app from the lock screen and taking a picture quickly. Now this simulated what one might do in real life if they wanted to capture something quickly, which should test the camera's autofocus and auto exposure features. Looking at each of the photos, we can see that the iPhone 5 and 5S resulted in blurry images. The iPhone 5 also seemed to be underexposed, while the iPhone 6 picture was the most sharp and in contrast, likely due to its quick face detection autofocus feature. Now the next test was to manually focus by pressing on the screen in the app and then taking a picture quickly to see how fast the camera could both focus and shoot the image. The iPhone 5 and 5S images are much better now. However, with the 5S, there seems to be a purplish haze near the bottom left. This might have to do with the purple flare issue that some users had with the iPhone 5, but it also might just be the angle. The iPhone 6 again produces the best contrast and focus picture thanks to its new image signal processor, which handles the face detection autofocus. Now here, I tested the cameras in low light conditions. I performed both a no flash shot as well as a flash shot to test the camera software and flash hardware. Ideally, the 5S and 6 should perform better than the 5 since they have larger f2.2 apertures, while the 5 only has an f2.4 aperture. Both the iPhone 5 and 6 produce cooler images, matching more correctly the white wall in white iPhone boxes. Now, the only light I had on during this was an old incandescent bulb with a very yellow-orange warm light, so the 5 and 6 seemed to be able to phase out the light source and capture what they thought were supposed to be the image. In terms of accuracy though, the iPhone 5S captured better what was presented in front of it, which was a very yellow warm environment. Now, with flash, the iPhone 5's image was much cooler than the 5S and 6. The 5 only has a single white LED, which would cause this cooler image, while the 5S and 6 both have a warm and cool LED to produce the more accurate image. The 5S's image, though, was a bit washed out, so it seems that the ISP might not have been able to compensate correctly for the amount of flash it applied. However, it seems that in the iPhone 6, that was corrected since that photo is the most accurate depiction of what was taken in terms of exposure. Now, just a little tidbit I wanted to add was that the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus both support 2 amp charging. The iPad line has been able to charge at 2 amps due to the larger batteries and have shipped with the larger 12-watt wall adapters, except for the original iPad mini, but now that the 6 and 6 Plus have larger batteries, they can also charge at 2 amps, though Apple still shipped them with only the 5-watt chargers. Now the iPhone on the left is connected to the iPad adapter, and the one on the right the stock iPhone charger. Here, I just time-lapsed this video, but after about half an hour, the left phone went from 59% to 89%, and the phone on the right went from only 59% to 85%. It seems that the right phone, though, even started off with a bit more charge than the left phone, since it jumped up to 61% rather quickly. That sums up the comparison video of the iPhone 5, 5S, and 6 running each their own respective integer launch versions of iOS. It appears that some things were better off in past versions, but it seems that Apple is still moving forward with each phone and OS update. So if you enjoyed this video, please rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you want to see a video where I go more in detail about the iPhone 6 camera, you can click on this video or the link in the description.